friend. Welcome to the treehouse. Want to come inside? Oh, wait, just one last thing. All right, let's go inside. Hello. Welcome to Frame by Frame. How are you doing? Hope you're having a great week. I'm excited to be here for another week of Frame by Frame. It is the day before Halloween, so my family's getting ready for Halloween. Let me know if you celebrate Halloween, and if so, what are you getting dressed up as? My wife is maybe listening for the first time to the show, and so I want to embarrass her because I'm going to put up our costume that we are wearing. Let me know in the comments if you know who we are. This is one of our favorite little movies. And so a little last minute costume change from earlier in the year. But let me know in the comments below who you are going to go as this year if you're getting dressed up. Today we got a fun episode, mostly just diving into the Extreme Close-Up Challenge. But also big news is that Powerful Photography is live. We put it out, launched it this week on Monday, and you can access it right now. So how do you do that? You can head over to the Photography and Friends community. And what you're going to see now on the left under courses is a space for Powerful Photography. So here you can check it out, learn a little bit more with this little preview video. And during launch, which is the next week, you can get $10 off the launch. So using that promo code MyImpact, join here. Along with the course content, you get access to the student lounge. This is a private space. This is a space where you can post questions, comment. There's a bunch of exercises that you can work through in the course, and there's spaces for you to post your exercises, get feedback, and so far, so good. The students who have joined are really enjoying the class, and that brings a lot of warmth to my heart because this is a class that I was very passionate about wanting to teach, and I finally got around to it. If you are curious about what Powerful Photography means, it's mostly about how you can make more impact with your photos, not just how to take photos that look better, but what can you do with it, whether that's big, small, worldwide, in your little home, in your own community. That's what this course is all about. All right, I got a couple guesses for our Halloween costume. Waldo is I was afraid everyone was going to think I was Waldo, and it's that shirt. But no, the clue that you get is Miyazaki. That is the one clue that I am going to give all of you. But hello, everyone. What's up, everyone in the chat? Maria, Darwin, Miriam, Bob, Emma. Hello. TK Swan. What's up? So anyways, check out the course. It's only in the Photography and Friends community right now, and it will be for the next couple of months. That student lounge area is only going to be open through the end of the year, and then I'm going to close it down. It's kind of a test to see what it's like to do these courses in a more of like a 2-month workshop kind of thing. And I've been talking with Will and Sam about doing other courses this way, where we have the video course, but also sort of a space for chat, dialogue as well, open for a bit more intense back and forth and feedback and things like that. I'll probably put this course on the normal platforms next year at the start of the year, but now is a great chance to check it out and join. So without further ado, though, we are going to be moving up to this week's challenge review. So actually last week's Extreme Close-Up Challenge. And I'm not going to tell you guys what my costume is. You guys got to figure that out. We wore it to, our kids had a costume ball at their school, and I was happy that a few people knew what it was, but not everyone. It's a little bit of a deep track costume. So today I'm going over the extreme close-up challenge, not doing any sort of speed run of another challenge. I wanted to give a little bit more time to the photos here. I also have my own photo that I am submitting, so you'll get to provide feedback to me. And what am I looking for in this challenge? My idea of extreme close-up is not only for it to be compositionally a close-up, closer than a close-up, it's an extreme close-up, but why are we doing that? Why are we taking a photo that's an extreme close-up? Maybe it's to show a detail that we haven't seen before, show the details of an object, of a thing. Maybe it's we want to see part of something that normally we see the whole thing, and so seeing part of it's more interesting. I want there to be a reason that we are using the extreme close-up, not just, this is an extreme close-up photo, but there's more of a reason to it. And so I think we'll see that as we look at all these photos. If this is your first time here, then what I do is I give a little bit of a grade to the photos, 1 through 5, starting at 3 if it's compositionally a good photo, technically focused, the editing isn't crazy off, then that's going to be a 3. A 5 I hold to like my favorite 1 or 2 photos per week. And I think last week I did a pretty good job at being more critical. I've gotten that feedback that you want me to be more critical of your photos, so I'm hoping to do that. I hope that I can give someone a 1, even though that sounds mean, but I want to be able to be critical, but we'll see how it goes. So as long as everyone is happy, yes, bedtime shorts, you got it. Tombo and Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. Congrats, you win a prize. Digital high five. Just look that up, and then you can look up this photo and see if we knocked it out of the park with that one. All right, so let's get to the photos this week. If unless anyone has a question, a thought, let's dive right into it. All right, first photo from Amar Sajan. Texture. I don't know what this photo is of. Maybe some like leathery seat, faux leather, not leather, but something like that. I don't really know what I'm looking at. I want more context. I like that the extreme close-up allows us to see the detail, the textures of things, but I do kind of want a little bit more detail or a little more context of what I'm looking at for it to really stand out. And so I'm going to give this one a 2 to start out with. I think, yeah, it's a good starting point. I think we could do Amari. You could probably get something a little bit more interesting to look at. I think that's the thing, is like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Maybe even closer up on the texture might have worked, just to have just a single texture or something. But yeah. So, and if anyone has comments, please leave comments, your thoughts, your own reviews, your thoughts. That would be great in the comments for everyone to see. All right, Saud Almadi with this other texture. I think we're going to see a lot of textures. I like the black and white edit. They chose to photograph at an angle, so we're not getting everything in focus, which might work for the extreme close-up. It is hard to get everything in focus or get the right thing in focus with an extreme close-up photo. I'm curious if you did participate in this challenge. Let me know in the comments, and then also let me know what lens you used to capture your photo. I would say a little bit more interesting of a texture for me. I can see this is like a rock, the ground, something like that. Still nothing that is drawing my eye to a specific subject, a specific thing. But I do like the texture a little bit more. It's a little bit more interesting. The shallow depth of field makes it a little more interesting to me. The black and white, I think we'll see some black and whites because it helps bring out those textures in these like super close-up photos. I would probably give this one a 3 as a baseline, maybe a 2.5 or 3 or so to start off. All right, Bob's in the house. I had a feeling we're going to get some flower photos, and this is a really good one. I always forget what the inside of the flower is called. Remind me in the comments. And then my wife probably knows who's watching, but the inside, the little pollen, all that pollen on that part of the flower, I really like that. The lighting is pretty harsh, but I think it makes that inside pop a little bit more from the background, which helps focus on this like one part of the photo. I'm not sure if I'd rather have it like crop square. It's like off to the side, which is fine. Like not square, but centered, I mean. Pistil. Yeah, pistils, stamens. Yeah, never would have remembered that. But technically the photo's really good. The colors are nice. Nice contrast, nice tones. Nothing's overexposed. You still see some stuff in the shadows, which means Bob didn't edit the blacks too dark or the shadows too dark. I probably would have cropped just a tiny bit in, a little bit on both sides. Potentially just like squaring up the crop could have helped with that, because I like the vertical crop. It's just the side maybe. Yeah, I'd probably give this one, I would definitely give this one a 3, maybe even give it a 4. It stands out to me. I like, the edit, nice focus, good focus. Sometimes it's really hard to get like this whole part of the inside of a flower in focus from like the front to the back enough to get it. A lot of times people take a photo and then like what's in the front is out of focus, which I don't like personally. So I like that the front of this, these stamens, the pistil, they are in focus. Oh, Magenta Bear, cool edit of this tiger. Creative edit, making everything black and white except for the inside of its mouth. That's pretty cool. I mean, for a photo of a tiger, it's pretty extreme close up. And I could see why you wouldn't want to be even closer up, not just not being able to get closer up, but there's the choice to crop in or to compose it with the whole mouth in the frame, which is cool. I mean, if you want to go extreme close up though, I think I would imagine like extreme close up as being even tighter, like just the tongue and the teeth on the bottom, or just that top row of teeth and the big fangs at the top and the nose or something like that to be even tighter. Because I think like seeing that texture, like we're seeing in the comments from Rosemarie and Marie Carrillo about that, the texture on the tongue is so cool. I do like the edit. Usually I don't like the solo of like making everything black and white except for one part of your image, because it just looks like an edited photo. It's fine. Personally, I don't like that generally, but I think this allows you to focus in on that mouth even more. So cool edit, cool photo. I would want it to be a little tighter. I'm going to give this one a 3. That might sound a little bit harsh, especially based off of like the photos that we've seen so far. This one's pretty impressive. But I think for an extreme close-up, I'm looking for something even more tighter, even more. Thank you, Luke, for the comment. Appreciate it. Glad you're here. Glad you're enjoying them. David Austin, this is a great photo of a spider. This is definitely an extreme close-up in the sense that we're seeing more of the thing than like in the previous photo, the tiger, but the spiders are so small, you have to have that extreme close-up. I mean, I've seen photos that are even more extreme close-up, and you can see those eyes, which is so crazy to see on these spiders, but this is pretty good. I like the square crop, kind of like frames it. The slant is pretty wild to see that slant of the rock face that it's on. Super creepy, super timely for Halloween. Creepy submission. This is one where the focus is so shallow. I almost wish it was a little bit deeper, and that's hard. Sometimes with like small objects, when they're not moving, you can do that with focus stacking. That's where you take multiple photos at different focuses, and most new cameras can do that automatically, and then you blend those together and you can kind of choose which parts of the focus plane you want to be in focus. But the front legs aren't in focus completely. I don't mind that the back is a little bit out of focus, but I kind of want the whole spider to be in focus. That being said, I feel like I handicap David because he's such a good photographer that like I'm judging him based off of like another level. This is like such a wild photo. I've never taken a photo like this, and it's really good. But I love the texture that you see. Just super wild. I'm really curious what lens he used for this photo. I'm going to give this one a solid 4. Pretty impressive photo. All right, next, another bug. Another weird, when you see them up so close, it's wild. They look like aliens. Really good shot focus wise. Yeah, it's the edit feels a little cool to me. I feel like that's a vibe, that's a tone, a mood that you're going for. So maybe I'd want it to, because it looks a little unnatural to me, that edit. So maybe warming it up could have helped. But I mean, in terms of composing that shot, that's pretty good. Again, this is, I don't even know, what bug is this? Some kind of flying insect. It's amazing to be able to get that shot so close in that position. Focus is pretty good. This one, I don't mind the focus as much being shallow, even though that the front of the antenna, the back of the wings are out of focus. Part of me wishes everything was in focus to just see the detail, but at least the face is in focus. So, I mean, I'd also give this one a 4. I think it's a really, really solid photo. Maybe 4, leaning 5. I think the contrast of the edit works good to like really showcase the details. When you increase the contrast on a subject like that, it makes all of the edges and therefore the textures and details pop a little bit more. I think the only thing one thing that could have made this a better photo compositionally is if the camera was down a tiny bit, rather than looking down at this, looking like straight on, which obviously is going to be hard to capture. But I think being able to look straight on at this insect could create more of a dynamic photo. I think partially it's the fact that the main subject is like in the bottom third or even below the bottom third of the photo. I don't mind sometimes like that much like negative space or that it being so weighted to the bottom, but this time I feel like I want the bug's face to be a little higher in the frame. Maybe cropping could help, but I also think you want to see the whole insect, so you couldn't crop too much. So maybe it's more of like a composition thing to move down. But that's being super picky. Amazing photo, Mirella. I wonder if we got the names messed up. I'm going to go into the post for the weekly challenge and double check whose names are on these photos to make sure I'm giving credit to the right person. Oh, she posted 2. Okay, that's why. All right. Well, usually we ask people to post 1, but it was very hard for her to post 1. So this is a really good photo too, Mirella. Gosh, I don't know which one I like best. The colors in this one just pop a little bit more, so I might say I like this one a bit more. Yeah. So I don't know. The other one's really good. Sharon. Another plant? What is this plant? No contact. Oh, I just realized I should always have the challenge up so on the community so I can see any details that they might say about this challenge. It's hard. I don't know what this plant is. It's very cool. I would give this one a 3. I feel like my initial instinct is it's composed well. What you want in focus is in focus. The colors are a little warm, maybe like tweaking those colors or even just boosting the saturation of just the greens might help a little bit, or cooling them down just a little bit. Yeah, I mean, cool photo. I kind of wish it stood out from the background a bit more. If we look at a photo like we saw before, Bob's, of the stamen, then the exposure of the background was a lot darker, allowing that foreground element of the flower to stand out. Here you have the focus being shallow in the background, which allows that foreground element to stand out, which is good. But maybe even just darkening that background could help if you could do that. I'm not sure how good like Lightroom's masking background tool, it might be able to do that pretty easily. Emanuele cat photo. Love the cat photos. +1 points for Emanuele. I tried to do a cat photo for this challenge myself because I was inspired by the photo we used for the little icon for this post. It was hard to get her to stand still, and I think the lighting, it was too dark, so our cat was moving too much to get it. But so that's not what I chose for this challenge, but this is good. Do I want to see the other eye? I don't know. Maybe not. Also, is this as extreme close-up as I want it? It's a close-up. I wouldn't necessarily call this an extreme close-up on this cat. I can see the whole face, which is nice, but for this challenge, I kind of want to be like even closer up. The edit is a bit cool and greenish. I would probably try to fix that a little bit just to make it more natural colors, because it looks, even though the cat's in the green, it's in the shadows, it still looks a little bit like the white balance isn't natural, like what you would see with your own eyes looking at this. I would give this one a 3 as well. Just mostly because it's not as extreme close-up as I want it to be. I think the photo itself is great. If it was a different challenge, if it was close-up animals, this would be a great fit. I want it to be more extreme close-up though. So yeah, that's my only critique about this one. Jolene, this is more extreme close-up. Obviously, a bird like this is smaller, so you have to, if you're going to fill the frame so much, then it's going to be a bit more tighter. You're going to have to zoom in more, get closer, use a longer lens. I think that the focus is a little off. So the eye is a little slightly out of focus, and everything behind the beak is in focus. So the camera probably like latched onto that beak. And then because maybe the aperture was so shallow, I don't have, oh yeah, this is with the 18 to 55 millimeter Nikon D1300. I want it to be in focus so you can really see those textures on the feathers. So great subject. This is your sister's baby Budgie. Budgie? It is 4 weeks old. So you can go back and photograph this bird. It might be a little bit bigger now, but I would try this again. Try to lock that focus onto, have a deeper depth of focus, so you get not only the beak, but also the eye, and definitely those textures at the top that are slightly out of focus that you see. So maybe that's a tough lens. 18 to 55, that you're getting pretty close with that. You'd really need something like a macro lens to get tighter on it. So yeah, and also just a quick note, I think the white balance is a little cool. I would warm it up just a tiny bit. So I'm going to give this a 2 just because there's a couple, the focus being a technical issue. It's a great subject. I would try it again and see if you could improve upon this photo. Celeste. Okay, this is an easier subject than a moving animal, but I like it. I like that you played around with this Barbie doll, Canon 700D, f8, 1/200th of a second, also with a 55 millimeter lens. Nice lighting. Yeah, I mean, this is like great for like a portrait. Pretty harsh directional light, but it looks good. It's extreme good focus. Like pretty much the doll's whole face is in focus. The one thing that bugs me is that one shadow from the hair that's over her eye. I would have like moved that and tried to take it again. But the crop is good. I like that she's looking towards the open space. Yeah, if I were Barbie, I would use this as a nice little headshot, post this to the gram. I'm going to give this a 4. Nice colors, nice editing, great shallow depth of field in the background. You could probably even cropped in just a tiny bit so that her eyes aren't like in the middle of the frame. But since you're cutting off top of her head, which is, I think, fine for like a close-up like this, cut a little bit more. Just take that top right corner, drag it in just a tiny bit, I would say, so that her eyes are a little bit above like the halfway point in the frame. Hair is not always perfect. That is 100% true. 100% true, Miriam. Thank you for that. All right. Did I give that one a grade? I was going to give that one a 4. Like solid. All right. Next photo. Cesar Guzman. This is a few pictures of the raccoon. Not the hero we need, but the hero we deserve. Canon 600D, the 50 millimeter f1.8. ISO 3200. 1/100th of a second. Oh, but the f-stop is unknown. That's just the f50 millimeter 1.8 lens. I feel like you must have been going for movement and a little bit of a blur style. I think for this challenge, I kind of want to see the details sharp personally, because I feel like without the details, I don't really know what's going on here. I see this face. I see that it's like a cartoony doll or something like that, but it's very abstract, which is cool. It's kind of neat, but I think for the extreme close-up challenge, I want to see the details. I don't know. What do you guys think about this photo? I'm a little bit torn. Like the blur is definitely a choice. Maybe like if the focus was more on the mouth or the eyes, I would like it better. I think because, I mean, a little bit of the nose is in focus, but like, I just don't know if that's the right thing to be in focus for this photo. So I'm going to give this a 2 just because it does look kind of creative, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one. I think try again since this is a doll. I like the lighting. The lighting's cool. Getting funky with the lighting, but yeah, I think for me, it kind of hit the mark. All right, Sandra M. Photo taken on a nature walk before showers, close-ups of water drops, Canon R50 with the 70 to 200 lens. Nice. This is really lovely. I like this a lot. I love the details you can see on all the little strands of the flowers, especially with the dewdrops. I kind of wish this whole flower was in focus, so that, or at least that front part at the top. See how it's like the top part's like drooping right in the middle? Like, I wish that was in focus. I'm also not sure about the dark. My initial feeling is that the dark background is cool because you took this on a little photo walk. So you edited the background to look dark. That's not how it naturally looked in the environment. And you can kind of tell a little bit because it's masked. But it's cool. Like yeah, I'm on the fence about that type of editing. I think if you took, what you could do is, like, if you want to really make a photo like this, is take this flower, spray it with water, and light it somewhere, which is something that I did with I did a whole flower series last year, I think, where I took photos, I took portraits of photos. Now, some people might not like that idea. Some people might say, well, that's not natural. You're like creating this environment. You're not just out taking photos of something you see. So I think the difference, though, in that way would allow you to get lighting like this and a dark backdrop like this, if you got like black paper or something in the background, without having to mask it. And that mask where you see the little imperfections doesn't need to bug. It wouldn't bug me as much. It bugs me that I see the little masking around the edges, especially on that left side. That being said, that's being pretty picky, and I think if you just posted this online and someone was looking at it, they'd say, wow. It's a cool texture. I do wish this whole first flower was in focus, though, because what's on the bottom is in focus, kind of, but it's so shallow. Maybe you could have, it was shot at an f4, so maybe bump that up a little bit, bump up your ISO a little bit, so you could have a little bit of a deeper depth of field. I think I'm gonna give it a 3. That might seem a little harsh for this one. It's pretty cool. Yeah. All right, Mubin Khan. Flower photo as I spill water on myself. Not close enough for me. That's my initial reaction. I don't like the white vignette either, personally. That's just like a style thing. Maybe you could crop this closer, like crop it as a square and just get close to that flower without more of the background, and it would feel more extreme close up. Looks like I'm looking at the photo on Photo Friends, and I actually like it a bit more. The quality is a little, I could see, higher, and I think you have enough detail to crop into that photo quite a bit, because I think the background distracts me, like all the branches and the colors in the background. So if you're trying to highlight this flower by itself, highlight the flower, get even tighter if possible. I don't know if you can get closer with your camera. I do like the fact that all of the flower is in focus. I think, I'm not sure if it was a high ISO or something, but you are getting a bit of noise in that photo. Or there's something, if you boosted the texture or something really high, you're adding a lot of noise to it that I'm seeing. The flower, the subject's really cool, though. I'd give this one a 2. Subject, great. Want to be tighter, more extreme close-up. And I wouldn't do that white vignette. Ooh, Paul. Now this is an extreme close-up. Extreme close-up of, what's that, daffodil? No, not daffodil. What's the one? The wishing flower? The dandelion. Dandelion. I love this. Usually I've seen these photos of the dandelions where it's focused on the little, whatever you call those, the seeds that you blow away, or the little things that blow away. So having it on the dandelion head is really cool, like this, and just having those things kind of frame it. I really like this photo, and the details are really nice. You do need a nicer quality lens, a tighter lens, to be able to get this kind of extreme close up. Let me see what lens he was using if he posted. The Canon R7, the 100 to 400 at 300 millimeters. So, and focus bracketing. So 9 shots handheld. Interesting. So a lot of work went into this photo, and I appreciate that. Paul's here. What's up? And that's how you can get enough of it in focus and all that detail in focus. That's cool. So Paul, since you're here, I'm curious what your process was, what app you used to stack focus. And you had 9 photos. I don't have a macro lens yet. Yeah. So at first I thought this was going to be a macro lens because you're getting so tight in on this and the focus looks like it's from a macro lens. I love the details. I think if I were to have any critique of it, maybe like that ball is kind of centered, and maybe crop in the left just a tiny bit to like sort of balance where that center ball is in terms of how close it is to the bottom of the frame, and the left of the frame just like scooch it just to the side. But I don't know. I don't know. I would give this a 5. I like this photo a lot. This is the one that stands out the most to me. So really good job. I mean, the colors, textures, really, really good. I don't have much of a critique at all. So good job, Paul. It sounds like everyone else is enjoying this photo too. All right, next photo, Hugo Alvarez. Oh, this is the photo I was trying to get. And I was having issues like this too. I think it's a little bit of movement. You didn't post your settings, but the shutter speed was probably a little bit low or slower. So even if there's like a little bit of movement of the cat or the camera, you're getting that little motion blur. The crop is cool. That's an extreme crop. I would probably have like straightened it out so the eyes are level in the crop. But you're really getting hurt by the technical issues of the focus not being perfect. The lighting was probably pretty low because there's a lot of digital noise in this photo. So your camera was probably boosting the ISO to compensate for the dark light. So maybe the same photo in a brighter situation where your ISO wasn't as high could work. I just want to see those details like super sharp. And this photo is not super sharp like that. So +1 for the cat photo. As Maria said, you survived it. That's great. Try again. This is if this is your cat, this is a great subject to practice again and see if you could get a sharper photo from the same subject. I do like the crop though, trying to be extreme. I'm going to give this a 2. I think there's room for improvement, Hugo. And I don't know if I've seen many of your photos. You might be new, Hugo, to the challenges. Keep at it. Keep at it. Thank you for posting your photos. All right. Next, we've got Tali. This, speaking of making us hungry, this is a chocolate cake with French buttercream swirls and chocolate heart decorations, made and photographed by me. Wow. Well, that's extra credit for making a cake this beautiful. Shot with the Rebel T1i 50mm f4. I like the detail. I kind of wish I was straight on with that heart. Like, so the heart, not like from the side, but like straight on, photographing one of those chocolate hearts straight on so I can see that. The color looks a little warm. I'm not sure. I mean, that buttercream frosting probably has a little hint of warmth to it, but it might be a little off. I feel like I just want to rotate the cake counterclockwise just a little bit to get that heart facing me. So I'm going to give this a 3. Technically pretty good in focus. Nice subject, extreme, but yeah. Alex, okay, this is hard to know what this is. Clock gears, 100 millimeter macro. Very cool lighting. Focus stacked in Affinity Photo. Yeah, I think the silhouetting is super cool here. So nice centering of these gears. I mean, cool. I think the silhouetting doesn't allow me to see the details, which I kind of want in an extreme close-up, and there's no context to how big this is. I'm assuming these gears are like tiny, like is it a watch or a clock? But like, I'm assuming they're pretty small, but I don't have any context of that with just this photo. Might just crop it square for this photo. It's cool. I'm going to give this one a 4. Nice subject, nice lighting, nice edit. Good job, Alex. All right, Ryan. This is, what is this? A close-up of my black fiber light painting brush. That's crazy. Also, no context of what this is, but it is a cool photo. It looks like out of this world. The colors are just super funky. The focus, I kind of... I don't have the shutter speed. It almost looks like it's a slow shutter, like there's movement or something. I kind of want something to be in focus. Like maybe for a different challenge, this would be higher ranked, but like the color, it's so wacky. Like the bokeh you get in the background. I don't even know. What's a black fiber light painting brush? Black fiber light painting brush. Oh, interesting. Let me show you what I'm looking at. I've never even seen that. I guess this is a thing. Oh, I see. This would be so cool. Oh, okay. So you can like create these cool long exposure effects with it. That's neat. Okay. Anyways, the photo is cool. I mean, super creative. I don't know if it's like the extreme close-up I'm looking for. I think I want to see the details a little bit more. I'd probably give this a 3 for this challenge. If it was like abstract shapes and lighting, this would be a 5 for sure. Dulgun Ganbat got the playing cards. My initial reaction, and hello everyone. Hey, what's up, Magenta Bear? Oh, that tiger was black and okay, Magenta Bear is here. That tiger was black and white in reality. I mean, I know there's black and white tigers, but that photo looked like you masked out the mouth. That's crazy. Even the background though doesn't have is desaturated. Did you desaturate the background too? I do see the little hint. I'm looking at the photo now in the on the plus there, it looks like there's some masking around the tiger, maybe the desaturated or something in the background too. Anyways, crazy. All right, let's see. Back to Dulgun's photo. I think for this photo, it's also not as extreme close up as I would want it to be. If you're gonna have a photo like this of just the deck of cards, clean up that background, put it on just that white table with nothing in the background, and make sure it's square with the crop. It's just slightly at an angle. Maybe even the subject of the playing card box is interesting, but I think it would have, you had an opportunity to take a cool photo of just like a card or a part of a card that would be super, like, more interesting to look at than the deck. So play around with this. I would do it again. Get rid of those speakers on the background or something, whatever those are. Clean up the background. Try to get tighter, even if it was just like part of the box would be kind of cool, or part of a card. So I'm going to, oh, Dugan, I'm sorry. I'm going to give this a 1. I think I would do this again. Do something again with the cards. Prove me wrong. Get something a little bit better. The focus is good, so you know how to get focus. Shallow depth of field's fine, but clean up that background and take a photo of like just the cards or just part of the box or something. That would be my suggestion. All right, Esther, first photo of a person. So yeah, didn't get a lot of people other than Barbie. Kind of hard to get a extreme close-up of a person. This is cool. I think I want to just be on those eyes a bit tighter. Like, you're trying to take a photo of the eyes, but the eyes are slightly in focus or out of focus. Well, definitely the left eye, but the right eye is definitely like just slightly out of focus. The eyebrow is in focus. And so even getting tighter on what it looks like you're trying to have be the subject would help. Even if you just cropped it, it is a little overexposed overall, I would say. And maybe on a photo like this, if the person you're photographing is looking more to the right where you can see more of their iris, I think it would be more interesting to look at too. So I like the choice for this to be extreme close. I would say this is like pretty extreme close up. I think we're going to see an even more extreme close up photo of an eye in the future that I got a little glimpse at. But pretty good in terms of like the composition being as tight as it is. But I want to get that eye in focus. So I'm going to give this a 2. And that exposure, just fix the exposure just a tiny bit. I think it's a little bit too bright. Darwin has a point though. If tighter on the eye, I like the reflection. Yeah, that's something that if you can see the reflection of something interesting in the eye, that would be kind of cool too. Catherine, this praying mantis, focus is just a little off. And this is so hard. And this is why you either need to do like focus stacking or crank up that f-stop. Let me see if you have your settings. f5.3. So 1/320th of a shutter speed, ISO 64. I think this is a great chance to bump up that f-stop, lower that shutter speed, even increase the ISO just a tiny bit to compensate for a darker or a smaller aperture, a higher f-stop, so that you can get that whole praying mantis in focus. So obviously not a subject you're going to be able to go back easily and find necessarily, but yeah, you need to have that whole thing in focus because right now it's the back of it that's in focus. Try again. I'm going to give this a 2. Composition is fine. Other things are fine. Maybe increase the contrast a bit just to make more of those textures pop. But I think for this challenge, I need the thing to be in focus for it to get a 3-star. Uh-oh, everyone. Now is the time. All right. Time for you to rate me. I took this photo yesterday, a couple days ago, in honor of the Baseball World Series, which I'm a big baseball fan of. So here's my photo. Be critical, be tough. Here is my old baseball, one of my old baseballs I got from my parents' house that I had when I was a kid. It lived a long life. I thought it was cool because it had cool textures in the ball, in the stitching on the ball. I put it in front, just like stood on the fence with like super harsh backlight from the sunset. I think the red is a little cool still. I could probably edit this a bit more to get the red of that thread better, make it pop a little bit more. The foreground is a little bit cool as well, but I crank that texture up. I crank that sharpness and detail up super high just to try to get texture. And for me, I used my 80 millimeter macro lens because I wanted to be super close to just the part of the ball, just like one part of the ball. And I think the stitches is like the part that I think makes it interesting. So yeah, at first I was a little bit like not sure about this photo, but now looking at it, I'm happy with it. It's cool. I think the lighting, same photo with different lighting would be better, honestly. I did darken the background just a little bit. You can maybe see that with the mask. And that yellow light on the right, that's just a little lens flare, which kind of accidental. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool. I might try it again in a different lighting, but yeah, in honor of baseball. Who's rooting for the Dodgers and who's rooting for the Blue Jays? Man, those Dodgers, they need to score some runs. Yeah, 4 out of 5 because the sunlight is a little too harsh. I agree. I think the sunlight is a bit too harsh. I think without the overexposed sunlight, you would see more details, which I want to see on an extreme close-up. All right, thank you for the comments. All right, Eric Harvey. Eric posted this photo, and this is a great example. He actually has a story that I shared in the Powerful Photography course. This is extreme. This is he's doing a series of photos of people's eyes to showcase a different side of them that they've seen before. And man, it's like a galaxy in there. It's pretty wild. The edit's pretty intense in terms of the contrast and the colors in that eye, but it's pretty cool. I almost want it to be centered, kind of. Like, I feel like, why not make the circle centered of your iris and your pupil centered? That's the only thing that kind of bugs me about this photo. But otherwise, really cool detail, really extreme close-up. And I love the detail you see here. I'm going to give you a 5, Eric. Good job. I would love to see more of your photos that you take of people's irises, just to see like the differences, and also see if there's one where if you do center it, I don't know. I'm curious. Will it look better or not? I'm not sure. But good job, Eric. Gosh, time goes on with these things, and still got about 10 or so photos to go. Emma, this is one of those little electric ball things where you like touch it and the lights come to your fingers, right? It's a little abstract. All that, there's so much movement there that it's hard to like see the details. I don't know if it's a slower shutter, if a faster shutter speed would have captured it, which is tough because you're trying to capture the light and you probably want I guess you want a fast shutter speed to do that, to darken it. It's a little feels out of focus to me. But I think it's just like the motion of everything. Very abstract. I think along with a couple of the other photos with like the crazy lighting and the abstractness, I would rate this higher. I would give this probably a 3 because it's interesting. The colors, the contrast is interesting. But I still don't know exactly what I'm like. I mean, I know what I'm looking at, but I'm losing context with like just the way that the lighting is, or the movement is rather. Yeah, that's a tough subject. I honestly don't know what I would do with that subject to even have a better photo. Maybe like a double exposure of one being like a slow shutter speed where you're seeing movement, but then like something super sharp where you can see the individual lines and sparks coming from this. Cool photo though, Emma. Did I give a grade? I'm going to give you a 3. Debbie, practicing with the pup. Oh, I love the pup. Oh, look at those eyes. Great subject. The edit, I would boost the contrast. Focus is pretty good on the eyes. It's a little off. Again, f5.6 on this 55 millimeter lens. The ISO is 1250, so it's a bit high. So you're gonna get some noise in there. With a little bit more lighting, maybe more directional lighting on the face of the pup, you could probably crank that f-stop a bit higher. I feel like my takeaway for this episode is don't be afraid of increasing your f-stop. I think we're so used to wanting to crank down that f-stop to get that super shallow depth of field. But when you're photographing a subject like this and trying to get a decent amount in focus, you're going to have to boost that f-stop. And same thing here. I want a little bit more in focus. That focus plane is so shallow. And for this one, I would have probably made it even more extreme by cropping in just to the eyes. Or this is an opportunity where you're like focused just on the nose. If you composed a little bit down, you got the nose itself in. But technically a pretty good photo. I think in the edit, you can make those eyes pop a bit more too. Like overall, add more contrast, S-curve, saturation boost just a little bit, which will naturally happen with the increase in contrast as well. It feels a little cool, so maybe warm it up just a bit. And you can practice again with a little bit of a higher f-stop because it looks like your pup is down to subject for you. I'm going to give this a 3 as well. All right, next photo. Cree Harris. Ooh, this is cool. I like the top-down look. Super textury. Lots of textures going on with that leaf. Shot on the iPhone. Nice. I like the balance of this leaf with the background. I think this is as close as you probably could get really with that iPhone. Although I like the background, the subject is the leaf. I probably would have cropped in from the top right corner just a little bit and have that leaf take up even more of the frame because that's like really the star of the show. That's what we're looking at. I like the water droplets with an actual camera and good lens. You could probably get super tight or see more details on that leaf. But this is a good photo. I'm going to give it a 4. Colors are cool. I don't like that you can see, it looks like your shadow standing above it. So this is an opportunity maybe to even move that leaf with your hand, move around, try to capture it so that you're not, I think that's your shadow in the bottom right anyways. Yeah, but pretty good photo, Cree. Ooh, Rosemary, this is cool. This is what I was imagining with a extreme close-up photo. At Nikon D850, 105 millimeters, f32, 10 seconds with light painting. Oh, interesting. Okay, so you're playing with light painting. I love that because you get this really cool lighting with the coming on this button. I love everything about it. I think part of me wants the Levi Strauss like to be turned so you can read it, but I don't know. That's kind of dumb. Like I think the texture of the jeans or whatever, the cloth coming down is really cool with the shadow. Yeah, this is a really nice photo, Rosemary. Really impressed with this one. I just like the tones of the colors. So I think it was you was asking about tone versus mood. In the powerful photography class, you have a very nice mood that you've created with the lighting, and then like the tones of the color, the tones of the different exposures are really nice here, and I like the shadows. So my head keeps going like this because I want to kind of see that button upright, but then you lose the cool composition of the, you know, the wave of that texture. I'm trying to be critical and not wanting to give you a 5 for some reason, but I'm going to give you a 5 because I really like this photo. It's one of my favorite ones. So good job, Rosemary. Nice job. All right. Annette. Ooh, this is a cool photo. Let's see. What were you using? Olympus EP5 f22. So good job using that high f-stop to get things in focus rather. 1/250th of a second shutter speed, ISO 100. Wow, 12 millimeter lens. So you were getting really close to that. You added that background, which is cool. The background is a little crumply at the top, so maybe you had a chance to like move that background a little bit to have like a cleaner background. Even with that, I don't know if it's just the upload, but even with that, I think it's the high ISO that you're getting a lot of noise. And we're shooting at an f22 shutter speed 1/250th. You probably could have slowed down that shutter speed to let more light in, and also decrease the ISO, because I think that's the main thing that you're battling right now is getting that noise in there. And I don't know. I feel like personally I've been into more like centered subjects rather than rule of thirds, off to the side kind of things, like when it's like a photo like this, when it's like one thing in a clean background and you're tight in on it. Just like part of me wants to just center it. I'm going to give you a 3. I would probably edit it. I would crop it in just a little bit to get centered maybe, or take it again centered. I think the background, I'm at a 3 2.5. Like the background, you had an opportunity to move that background to clean it up just a little bit so you're not seeing the crumples at the top. But the subject matter is really cool. Agapanthus bud. Ooh, Susan. Okay, this is cool. Grandfather's hands tell stories. They certainly do. This is definitely a close-up. I would say some people would call this an extreme close-up. I love the composition. I love the black and white. I like seeing the whole hands there just resting. You kind of get a story from that. I think for an extreme close-up, maybe I would have expected or wanted it to be even tighter on like that ring finger. With you still see the interlocked fingers, but even tighter. But for what it is, it's really nice. I don't have pretty much any notes on the composition, the lighting, the edit. I like sort of the soft faded black look. I think I'm going to give it a 4 because I think it could be a little bit more of an extreme close-up, maybe. But still, like, really good job, Suzanne. Good job. All right. Miriam. I think that name is spelled wrong. Sorry about that, Miriam. Saturday's picnic. Finished my glass of Coke. Inspired. Shot on the Fuji XS20. I do like those textures. That's really cool. The colors are cool. The lighting's cool. The background's cool. The focus is great. I like this texture more than some of the ones I saw very early on, just because it's such an interesting texture. There's not a lot of context for what it is, so it ends up being kind of just like this abstract look, which is cool. I'm gonna give you a 4 because it stands out a bit more than some of the other ones. And I think the backlighting coming in through this texture of the bottle is really cool. Maybe like, so this is like a Coke bottle. I can see why you would I don't know what the whole Coke bottle looked like. So I can see why you probably wanted to crop out or frame up not having the logo there, just to have like this clean sort of texture. Part of me wonders what it would have looked like to have even just a hint of like Coca-Cola, because it has such a classic logo and color to it, but still like tight seeing this texture. Oh, it's your first challenge and your name is misspelled. I'm sorry. But yeah, still really cool. I even cropped, not cropped in, but even like framed to the left a bit more so that this texture is taking even more of the photo up might look nice. Right now it's almost split in the middle. It's a little bit taking up more than 50% of the space, but a little bit more could be nice too. But I love that texture. That's really cool. Oh, it's a glass. It's a glass, you said. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so it's not a Coke bottle. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so I mean for what it is, it's really nice. That texture is so cool. Okay, Hong Wang. Sony A7R5 f/25 5-second exposure, minimal editing. Ooh, this is a tough one, Hong. I think the long exposure is cool because you see this water kind of circling in this pond. I don't think the extreme close-up is the right challenge for this photo, because what I want is to see context in the scene with the long exposed water swirling. Like I like actually seeing in the top right that rock up there, and I want to see more of it. I think that's what, when you see these photos of the long exposure of the waterfall, what really looks cool is when you see the whole like still scene and then you see the rushing water long exposed. And so I'm trying to think like in this setting, what could have been a cool extreme close up. I'm looking at those leaves up in the top right. Those leaves super still, super cropped, or not cropped, but super tight on those leaves and those textures, but still having the water rushing behind it. That would have been cool. That might have been a better choice for an extreme close up. Yeah, or some like even the texture of the rocks, the close up on those rocks. I think the long exposure is cool, but I think for this challenge it doesn't work for me. I'm gonna give this one a 2. I think Hong, yeah, a 2. I would say, yeah. The swirl is cool. Hong says, I could not find any animals, flowers. I decided to take this swirl. The swirl is cool. It's really interesting, but I don't know if it's the right choice for the extreme close-up. All right, Sharna, first time participating in the challenges. Welcome. Good job. Love this photo of, it looks like a wedding ceremony. I think my critique's going to be very similar to Suzanne's. It's a close-up. I wouldn't call this necessarily an extreme close-up. So on its own, this photo is amazing. I love it. It tells a big story of what this moment is. You don't need any more context for what's happening. And it's a great photo to have of this ceremony in conjunction with other photos, like wider shots. I think an extreme close-up for me would have been like super close to their like way closer to their hands. Obviously hard to do in this sort of event photography space. Like you need to like have time to set up an extreme close photo like this, where maybe you're like macroed in on the rings or something like that. So I think great photo. I would call it a close up, which is good. I think for it to be an extreme close up, I'd want it even tighter. But because the lighting's nice, because the composition and the editing's nice, I'm still gonna give you a 3 because it's a solid photo. Ooh, Abios. Ooh, this is cool. Okay, so we had the spider photo before. I think it was David. And I like this photo a lot. You really see the detail of the eyes of this spider, taken with the Olympus EM10 III with extension tubes, which is what you need to get those macro shots. I don't mind the shallower depth of field here because you see the main part of your subject, which is like the head of the spider with the eyes, something you don't see. And I would say this is like for sure extreme close up. Colors are great. Composition, I like, you're seeing the whole spider except for that little leg on the left side of the frame, and I guess the left side of the frame this way. And I kind of want to just like see that a little, like see the whole spider shift to the left a little bit with the framing, but obviously that's going to be difficult. So maybe even, no, it's good. I'm being so picky. I like, what do you want me to say? It's a good photo. It's a crazy good photo. Again, I've never taken a photo like this, so I'm going to give it a 5. Yeah, it's balanced. The colors are great. Textures are great. Contrast is great. Really good photo. Ooh, this is lovely. Michael Brox, taken in Germany forests. Coprignalis micaceus, or glistening inky cap, the 90 millimeter macro lens. Focus 15 shots, focus stacked. The lights in the bokeh are some directly illuminated metal chips. Wow, this is cool. I think this is my favorite photo of the day. The lighting is so cool. The fact that you got this in nature is awesome. Using focus stacking, which is a bit of an advanced concept to get the full mushroom in focus, but just to like showcase like why that works and why that makes this photo look so special is that you get to choose and basically create a photo with a tiny subject with a super shallow depth of field, but still get that full subject in focus. I think we have a focus stacking lesson in the photography masterclass. If not, it's something that I would love to add. But the colors are great. The lighting is amazing. You said there's like light. The bokeh is coming from illuminated metal chips. I don't know if that's just like a reflection of something in the background, but this is awesome. Super magical. I already gave it a 5, but here's another 5-star. 5 lightning bolts, Michael. Good job. Thank you for posting this. All right, Dawn posted this sunflower, or this photo, standard 24 to 105 on the Canon. Would love to learn the techniques for getting those really zoomed in shots. Well, this is pretty good, Dawn, I would say. It's the crop is very vertical. It's almost a little too vertical for me. I want a little bit more breathing space on the left and the right. And maybe that just almost means cropping the top and bottom a little bit, or widening out just a little bit so that you see the left and right a bit more, or at least the left. I kind of want to see more of those petals on the left. Everything's in focus very well. So you did a good job hitting that focus. I think you can really see that if you open up the photo in the Plus community, that center of the flower is really in focus. The petals are slightly out of focus, and I think since this is a photo where you're like straight on your subject, you kind of want everything to be in focus. So maybe a deeper depth of field would help with this, just to make sure that those petals are also perfectly sharp. I mean, to answer your question about like just wondering how you get those really zoomed in shots, it's a lot to do with your lens. The 24-105, I don't think is a macro lens, but a macro lens allows you to get so close to your subject and still get in focus. And that's what makes the ratio of what you're taking a photo of to the size of your sensor, a lot of science behind it, just gives off that quality of something being like super big and that macro quality. But that has to do with having a nicer lens. So sometimes you just can't do that. But for this photo, I would give it a solid 3 or 4. I don't know, 3. Like at base level, it's composed. It's mostly in focus. The colors are nice. The petal at the top is a little bright. I might bring the exposure down just a little bit on that. Maybe crop in just a little bit as well. But I think it's there. It's pretty close to a solid 4 for me as well. All right, Janet in the house, and I think this is our last photo. This little beetle, 2 beetles. I didn't know what was going on. I like, what? There's 2 beetles here. They kind of blend into each other, giving a piggyback ride, I guess. I like this. This photo is cool. You see, like, I like the story of it because you see the 2 beetles together having something, and then you see the leaf that's like chomped down on by these beetles. The lighting's nice. The water you see there adds a nice texture. Focus is pretty good. I think this is, I don't know what your settings were, but again, maybe a little bit deeper depth of field focus stacked would help with this, but for what it is, it's a really nice photo. I'm gonna give this a 4. This one stands out as a pretty solid photo. It's a little greenish. I mean, that's just, the plants are green, the background's green, the bugs are green, so it's very green, which I don't mind. I would have to like play around with it in Lightroom to see, is it too green? Is there a little bit of a greenish hue that should be fixed? But I don't know. Good job, Janet. That's really nice. All right, so that is this week. Another long week of challenges, which means that you are all posting your photos, which I love. And this week we have a new challenge, seasonal changes. So check that out. Post your photos. I will be back next week. This lends itself to people in the northern hemisphere where trees are changing colors and things like that. So if you live, below the equator, I don't know what this means for you, but I'm curious to see what your photos look like. As I mentioned at the start of the show, we launched the Powerful Photography course this week here in the community. So for the next week, you can use the My Impact code to get $10 off. So it's $20 for the course. The course is a full video course, but it also comes with the student lounge space. That's where we can dialogue together with the other students who are taking the course right now. And throughout the course, what you're going to be working on is what I'm calling the My Impact Photo Project. And it's really a chance for you to like think about something you've been passionate about, do something a little bit more with your photography. And so we can, throughout the course, there's exercises and things that can like help you brainstorm that. You can post those to the student lounge as well. There's spaces for that. But check it out. It's right here in the community. Would love to have more of you in the class. And but until next week is not the first not the second. So we don't have a live Q&A next week, but the following week we will. So Frame by Frame is next week, November 6th. I hope you enjoy Halloween. Get some tricks or treats or whatever you're looking for. And Yeah, I think that's it. I was taking photos for my own My Impact Photo project that if you're in the class right now, you will see me be posting in the student lounge space what I'm actually working on as well. And I'll eventually put that into the course materials itself, but this is a good excuse for me to do something that I've been meaning to do with my photography. So you can see all that if you're a student. So go join. And I think that's it. I've been taking a lot of photos of birds lately. That's been fun. Getting better at that. I'm at 72 species, I think, on my life list. So that's been fun. Yeah, okay. It's time to go. All right. Much love. See ya. Have a beautiful day. See you in class. And until next time, have a beautiful day. Bye.